Now, please welcome to the stage Dr. Ahmed Elgammal.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about visual art and how that is being created using AI. I am the founder and CEO of ArtTrendX and founder of the Art and AI Lab at Rutgers. So at ArtTrendX, we basically look at building AI focused on the art market and creative professionals. In particular, I'm going to talk about AI art generation. If you look at the history of image making, starting from the cave paintings to 2D canvas, all the way to photography and digital photography and manipulating images using Photoshop-like application to graphic renders, we are now entering a new age of AI generating imagery. So what that means and what that will bring. So these are examples of art made using AI by different artists, Tom White, Anna Riddler, Robbie, and others. So how AI art is made, I'm gonna give you a very brief introduction about that. So basically you give AI engine lots of images and it will learn basically to emulate this. How that works, the main breakthrough in the last few years behind this new wave of AI for making art is what's called GANs, Generative Adversarial Network by Goodfellow. Basically, this is a machine learning algorithm that plays two networks against each other. One of them is called the critic or the discriminator that has access to images. Suppose you want to generate images of bedrooms like that, or cats, or dogs. So you give that network lots of images of what you want to generate. On the other hand, there is a generator who knows nothing. He does start by generating a random image. He has no access at all to any data. And basically, this generator will generate this random image and pass it to the critic, and the critic has access to data. It will tell it it's not a bedroom in that case. So it's a fake image. So this signal go back to the generator, and the generator try to improve. So after so many iterations, the generator will start improving its ability to generate something that looks like a cat or a bedroom, whatever you give it. So this is the idea behind this image generation using GANs. So what is the source of aesthetics if you train AI using GAN to create art? Suppose you give it lots of portraits, classical portraits, and it generates more portraits. Basically, this is what you're going to get. This is basically what you end up if you train this model on portraits. As you see, it's kind of weird-looking, deformed portrait. What happened here is that really the AI failed to imitate the portrait, and out of this failure, it created something that might be interesting to you. So it surprised you, it has some deformation. It kind of reminds us of Francis Bacon portrait. However, there's a fundamental difference. Francis Bacon has intention to make this portrait deformed, while the AI just failed to make a correct portrait, but still it surprises us. So basically, that's how AI art is made these days. It really depends on the aesthetics of machine failure, as I call it. Who is the artist in the process? That's very important to understand. So the artist actually is controlling the whole process. So the artist control what images, what data fed into the AI, what kind of AI algorithm is going to be used, and tweaking that algorithm. And out of that, usually thousands of images are being generated, and they handpick a couple to show the world, like a photographer choose out of his shots or her shots. So basically, the artist role is pre-curation, tweaking, and post-curation. It's a creative process that involves the AI as a tool at the end, but it has a little element of creativity because it's always surprised the artist. So is GAN-like algorithm actually creative? If you give GANs basically, let's say, all art history, will it create any art? It will basically, by definition, by construction, it will just try to emulate art. It's not going to really, by construction, make something creative. That's why we created what we call ICANN, which actually combines a theory from psychology of aesthetics and art history to generate basically an autonomous artist that looks at all art history, try to learn the aesthetics, and try to generate something new. How that work? How can we actually move from this kind of emulation of art to being innovative and creating something novel? That's exactly how to move from being generative to being creative. So how this can work, creative adversarial network, it's a variant of GAN that emphasizes creativity. And let's look at art history. Suppose you are an artist living in the late 19th century, like this amazing impressionist art by Sicily. After a while, you already tried impressionism, you tried everything possible in impressionism, and as an artist, you want something new. So because of habituation, artist always has to push and create something new. And here comes something totally shocking. You can do something new, but might be too shocking. So these two forces, habituation and innovation, work against each other, and that's how art evolved over time. That's exactly what we try to implement in this machine. So we give it all art history, Western art history to be specific. And it learned about styles, Renaissance, Baroque, Impressionism, Cubism, and it tried to generate art that follow the aesthetics in general, but doesn't repeat any existing style. Try to come up with something that doesn't fit in existing style. If it tries to generate a Renaissance or Impressionist or Cubism, it gets penalized. So out of that, it learned to generate lots of amazing artwork that are visually appealing and at the same time not really connected to anything in particular. Anyway, so we have lots of exhibitions in the last 2 years of this kind of AI art to see the reaction of people. However, what we are really interested in is how to bring this to artists, how to enable artists to use AI in making art. And this is a big challenge because this is a very technical topic and most artists will not have the ability to do that. That's why we built Bladeform.io. Basically, Bladeform is a platform that allows artists to explore using AI in making art without any coding. So here is our very first version, our alpha version that appeared in May. The artists actually plug in some inspiration images. In that case, I plugged in here Renaissance portraits, and then plug in some aesthetics. I want aesthetics of flowers, any set of images describing what is the aesthetics. And then submit a dream, and after an hour, actually, here the artist trained their own model from scratch, train a whole deep learning model from scratch without any knowledge about AI or without any knowledge about programming. And they get actually thousands and thousands of images. So in the past 2 months, just in our alpha version, we have less than 100 users, and they created over 3 million images in the last two months. Imagine this, how that can change the world of creating imagery moving forward. Let me now show you some examples of what artists made using this. And you see there are a lot of variety. Here, artwork by an artist, his name is Divin Garakhanian, who plugged in lots of photos from Charlie Chaplin, and I want to see how the AI will abstract this and move into more surrealist kind of images. And at the end, he printed this on aluminum. Here's another example, artist Marco Santini, who actually printed this and then painted over it as well. I'm just showing the different kind of mediums. Here is another artist, Annie Spelter, who actually used AI to get inspiration, and then she just painted by her hands. So this is basically Bastille over drawing over canvas. So it's traditional way, traditional medium, but using AI as a way to inspire her and get new ideas. Another example of her work. More example of her work. And here is another artist, Carla Janes, who created different things, and that's more related to today's topic. Actually, these videos, VR videos that she created using Bladeform. So all the backgrounds here is actually generated and animated out of Bladeform. Here's another example. Here, she plugged in these portraits in the middle here out of Bladeform, and also the texture map is generated using Bladeform. So our beta version is coming in September. We're going to be more sophisticated and will allow different ways to experiment with AI as a tool. All right, thank you very much.